Kerosene in the oil. Just enough. Not too much to smell, but enough to ruin the taste of her food at the big national contest. The salt. Take it out. Put in baking soda, mixed with soap powder. Mix them well so they look the same. She is not going to notice until it is too late. Nobody is going to know until the foam starts bubbling up in her soup. After everything I have done to help you, Loma, after all these years, you think you can just go and beat me in front of everybody? Let's see you win now. Perfect. Arrange it exactly how she left it. Nobody will know I was here. You will not beat me. Impossible. Oh, it is just the old cleaner. She did not see me doing anything. It is done already. It is already done. My people, stay with me, because this is not a story about a cooking contest. This is a story about what happens when the person who claps the loudest at your table is the same person who has been quietly pulling your chair away. And if you believe that loyalty is something that must be earned and not just claimed, like this video before we go any further. It costs you nothing, and it helps the story reach the woman, the girl, the person sitting somewhere right now wondering why the one they trust the most keeps making them feel a little bit smaller every time they leave the room.
Subscribe now.
Now, let me tell you who Ola was before I tell you what she lived through. Her full name was Ola Chiku, 29 years old, an Igbo woman, born the last of 3 children to a retired school teacher father and a market trader mother in Aqua. She had been cooking since she was 6 years old, standing on a wooden stool beside her mother, stirring with a spoon that was too long for her arms, learning that food was not just something to fill your belly. It was a language. It was love. It was what you gave when you had nothing else to give and still wanted the people at your table to know they were valued. She moved to Lagos at 24 with nothing but a duffel bag, 250,000 naira her mother had pressed into her hands at the bus park, and a talent that everyone who had ever eaten her food agreed was not ordinary. She worked as a cook's helper in Surulere for 2 years, then as a junior sous chef at a catering company in Ikeja. Then she started taking private catering orders from her small apartment on Allen Avenue. Birthdays, housewarmings, dinner parties, building a name, one well-seasoned pot at a time. She was not flashy. She did not have the kind of personality that walked into rooms and demanded attention. But when you ate her food, you remembered it. You talked about it 3 days later. You called your cousin in Abuja to describe it. That was the kind of cook she was. And she was the kind of friend who gave everything. That is the part you must understand before this story fully makes sense. She had known Ada Rebello, everyone called her Dara, since secondary school from Form 2. They had been put together as desk partners during a geography class and had bonded over the fact that they both found Mr. Wakalo's flat voice truly dangerous to their being awake. They kept each other awake by passing notes. After that class, they kept each other company for everything else. They were different from the very beginning. Ola was the kind of friend who remembered your birthday and showed up. Dara was the kind who forgot and then made it about herself when you mentioned it. Ola shared her lunch without being asked. Dara kept her food for herself carefully and shared only when it would get her something in return. Ola stayed when things were hard. Dara had a way of being very busy at exactly the moment trouble showed up. But Ola had known Dara since they were 14. And there is a special kind of blindness that long friendship creates. A loyalty that stays not because it is still fully deserved, but because it is familiar, because you have held it so long it has left a mark in the shape of your hands, and you have forgotten that the shape can be changed again. So Ola overlooked the selfishness, the carelessness, the way Dara's voice always found its way back to the subject of Dara. The way her support always carried a faint bad smell, like fruit that looks fine from the outside. She overlooked it until the day she could not. Ola's mother died on a Thursday afternoon. A hit and run on the Aqua Onitsha Road. A truck that did not stop. A woman who spent her whole life being careful was taken away by someone else's carelessness in 40 seconds on a road she had traveled 100 times. She got the call from her brother Chitty at 3 o'clock. She sat down on the kitchen floor of her Allen Avenue apartment because her legs made the choice before her mind could. She sat there for 20 minutes before she could stand. She called Dara right away, 3 times, no answer. The 4th time Dara picked up. I am in a meeting. Is everything okay? Dara, my mother, she is gone. Oh my God, Loma. I am so sorry. Let me call you back, okay? I am in the middle of something. So, as I was saying, she called back 4 hours later. Ola was already on a bus to Aqua. Dara did not come for the burial. She sent a message the morning of the burial. Something came up. I will make it up to you. You know I am here even when I am not there. A thumbs up emoji at the end like an extra thought. Ola read that message standing outside the church in Aqua in her mother's burial clothes. Her eyes swollen from 3 days of crying. And she felt something she had never felt toward Dara before. Not anger, something quieter and more honest than anger. A recognition, like fog slowly lifting from something you had always known was there. But she was grieving. And grief is not the time for facing things head-on. Grief is the time for surviving. So she folded the message away inside herself and went to bury her mother. She grieved for 3 months. She went back to Lagos. She went back to her catering work. She went back to the rhythm of cooking because cooking was the place she felt closest to her mother. And being close to grief can sometimes be the same as being close to love. And in the 3rd month, Dara called, bright, warm. The voice Dara used when she wanted something to be easy. Dara, I have been so terrible. I know. I am so sorry about Mama. I cannot imagine what you went through. You know, I wanted to come, and things just got so complicated, and I kept meaning to call, and then Dara, I know there's no excuse. I am sorry, truly. Can we start over? Can I come and see you, please? Ola sat with the phone for a moment. She had lost her mother 3 months ago. She still cried in the evenings when the apartment was quiet, and something on television reminded her of the way her mother laughed. She was lonely in the special way that grief makes you lonely, surrounded by people, and still somehow standing in a room by yourself.
Come, she said.
Dara came with chin chin she had bought from a shop on the way, a small sweet peace offering, and sat in Ola's kitchen and talked and laughed and made the room feel less empty. And Ola, who needed a friend more than she needed to be right, decided to let it go. She had already let go of so much. She let go of this too. That was her love. Wide, accepting, the kind that costs more than it should. It was 2 weeks after Dara's return to her life that the contest notice found Ola. The Lagos Culinary Showcase, a regional cooking contest open to independent chefs and caterers under 35. 3 rounds, a judging panel of 5 food industry experts. Prizes that included a cash award, a professional equipment grant, and the one that made Ola's hands go still when she read it, a place in a culinary residency program in Edinburgh, Scotland. 6 months fully paid for. She read it 3 times. Then she called Chitty in Aqua and said, "Brother, this is what Mama was praying for." She applied. She was chosen. And on the phone that evening, buzzing with something she had not felt in months, something clean and forward-facing and bright, she told Dara too. Dara's voice rose up high. "Ola, this is huge. I know. I am so happy for you. So happy. Wait, is the contest still taking applications? I think so. Let me send you the link." And here is the part that shows everything. She did not stop to think. She sent the link. She said, "Apply. You are good in the kitchen too. Let the best win. A win for one of us is a win for both of us." She meant it fully. That is what it looks like when someone loves without playing games. Dara was chosen too. And from that day on, the jokes began. At first, they were easy to brush off. The kind that passes for joking between old friends. "Ola, when I win this contest and travel to Edinburgh, who will cook EBA for you when you win?" Very confident. "I am serious. So, the judges will be eating my jollof and they will forget your name. They will be like, who? Just be practicing. I am already winning. You are the one who needs to practice. Don't put too much salt like you normally do." Ola laughed too, because that was what you did with Dara. You laughed, but the jokes did not stop. They grew bigger slowly, the way things do when someone is telling you the truth from inside the wrapper of a joke. One evening at Ola's kitchen table when they had cooked together, and Ola's egusi had come out really well. The kind of pot that smells like the whole building wants to move to your doorstep. Dara tasted it, put down her spoon, and said, "Lucky this is not the contest. Because the judges would have crowned you right away and sent the rest of us home." Ola looked up. I am joking. Dara waved her hand. But honestly, maybe your food will smell like kerosene on the day. Contest nerves. These things happen. She laughed long and bright. Ola did not laugh that time. She stirred the pot once and said quietly, "Let's hope not." There is something the elders say that the modern world has tried to make us forget. They say, listen to what a person says when they are laughing because the joke is the message. The laugh is just the costume it wears so you do not run. Ola would remember that later. Too late, and also exactly in time. If this story is speaking to you, and you know you have someone in your life who has been telling you exactly who they are from inside a smile, subscribe. This community is here for people who are still learning to hear what they are being told. The contest was held at the Lagos Television Center on a Saturday in November. Bright lights, camera crews, 5 judging tables set up in a horseshoe facing 12 stations. Each one labeled, each one stocked with supplies that every cook had set up themselves the evening before during the setup time. Ola had set up her station the night before with the care of a woman who understood that getting ready was a form of prayer. Her vegetable oil, her palm oil, her spices, her salt, all in small labeled containers placed in the exact order she worked. She had touched each one the way her mother used to touch her Bible before a trip, lightly on purpose. She went home. She slept 4 hours. She woke at 5, made tea, sat with a silence, and talked to her mother the way she had started doing since March. Not prayers exactly, more like talks. Mama, today is the day. I will cook the egusi the way you taught me. I will not rush the peppers. I will let the oil break properly before anything else goes in. You used to say the oil knows when you are in a hurry, and it punishes you for it. She smiled. I will not be in a hurry.
She got dressed.
She folded her mother's old blue apron, the one with the faded yellow edge, the one her mother had worn for 20 years, and she put it carefully in her bag. She had decided the night before to wear it. She left for the television center. She did not know that 3 hours earlier, at 1:45 in the morning, Dara had found her way into the prep room at the television center, and she had gone straight to Ola's station. She knew exactly what she was doing. She had thought about it for 2 weeks. She had tested it at home. She had measured, replaced the salt with a mix of baking soda and washing soap powder. The colors were the same. The feel was close enough. Ola would not taste her food before she served it. She never did. She said tasting in a contest was a sign of doubt, and she cooked without doubt. Replaced the vegetable oil with a bottle she had mixed herself. 70% oil, 30% kerosene. Just enough to smell, just enough to ruin the finish of anything fried in it. Just enough to end someone's dream without leaving fingerprints. She was back out of the building in 11 minutes. What she did not think about, because people who plan betrayal only see what they want to see, was that Mama Manechi, the cleaner, had not gone home that evening. Her knees had been giving her trouble. The supervisor had let her sleep in the storage room at the back instead of taking the long Danfo ride home in the dark. She had woken up at 2 a.m. to use the bathroom, and she had heard a voice in the prep kitchen. She had stood in the hallway and listened to every word. And when Dara left, she had gone quietly into the kitchen, turned on her phone, and confirmed with her own eyes exactly what had been done to that girl's station. She had not touched anything. She sat in the storage room until morning with her mop and her quiet and her anger, and she waited. The cooks started arriving at 7 o'clock. Ola came through the door at 7:15 with her bag over her shoulder and her mother's apron folded inside it. Mama Kechi was mopping the hallway near the door. Ola stopped beside her without thinking, the way she stopped beside anyone doing work that deserved being noticed. She looked at the old woman, her bent back, her careful hands, her eyes that had seen too many long days, and her slow steps. She looked carefully at the woman's legs and she said, "Good morning, Ma. You are here early. How are your legs today?" Mama Kechi looked up, and Ola saw something in the old woman's face that made her go still. Not pity, something older than pity. The look of someone carrying a thing they're deciding whether to put down. "Good morning, my daughter." The old woman leaned her mop against the wall. She looked both ways down the hallway and lowered her voice. "I have something to tell you about your station about last night." Alma heard every word. She stood in that hallway, and she heard every single word. She did not cry. She did not raise her voice. When Mama Ketchy finished, Ola walked carefully to her station and checked the salt container. She wet her finger and tasted. Her mouth filled with the flat chemical bite of soap powder under baking soda. The oil. She took off the cap, pressed her nose to the opening. Kerosene. She stood there for a moment. The contest hall was filling up around her, lights getting brighter, judges taking their seats, other cooks laughing and talking, full of the morning's nervous energy. Dara arrived at 7:40. She spotted Ola across the hall and waved big, open warm. She walked over and pulled her into a hug. Today is the day, Ola. Let the best chef win. She was smiling. Her eyes were clear and confident and not bothered at all. Ola hugged her back. Let the best chef win, she said. Mama found her again in the break room 10 minutes before the contest began. My daughter, what she did to you, she deserves the same. Let me help you. We take her oil. We take her salt. We give her what she prepared for you. Let her taste it. Let the whole country see. The old woman's eyes were sharp and sure. She deserves it. Ola looked at her, at this woman who had stayed awake all night holding someone else's secret because she believed it was wrong. This woman who owed nothing and had given her everything. She let herself think about it without pretending she was above the thought. She pictured Dara's face, the moment the judges tasted her food, the confusion, the shame, the way the smile would fall apart when she understood. She pictured it, and for exactly 4 seconds it felt like justice. Then she thought about her mother, about the woman in the blue apron with the faded yellow edge who had raised her in a kitchen that smelled of crayfish and palm oil and something harder to name. Something like honesty, like the refusal to become what has been done to you. I hear you, Ma, Ola said. And thank you, truly, but no. Mama blinked. No. No, I am not going to do it. She smoothed the apron over her front. My mother did not raise me to win that way, and I am not going to become the kind of person who does, just because someone pushed me there. She touched the old woman's arm gently. But thank you for telling me. That was the most important thing anyone could have done. She went to the contest organizers. She explained that her supplies had been messed with and asked for replacements without naming Dara, without a scene, without drama. The organizer looked at her strangely, but worked it out for her. And then she went to her station and she cooked. She cooked the way her mother had taught her, without rushing, without doubt, without looking sideways at what anyone else was doing. She let the oil heat to the right temperature before the peppers went in. She tasted at every step, not from doubt. She had decided, but from paying attention, because food, her mother always said, talks to you if you're willing to listen. Her agusi was the kind that settles on the tongue and makes a person go quiet. Her jollof had the burnt bottom, the famous party jollof smokiness that you cannot fake and cannot rush. Her fried plantain was the color of evening sunlight, frying patiently and at the perfect temperature. From across the hall, Dara cooked too, and she cooked well.
She had real talent.
That was the full, painful truth of it. Real talent she had not trusted enough to let stand on its own. She had felt Ola's gift like a threat to her own, when both of them were more than enough to stand side by side without crashing into each other. 3 hours. The dishes were turned in. The judging began, and then the screen at the front of the hall came on. Not the score screen, the big television monitor above the judging panel, the one normally used for sponsor announcements. It came on with security footage, grainy but clear. The timestamp in the corner read 2:17 a.m. The whole hall saw it. The judges saw it. The cameras filming the contest saw it. Dara saw it. Dara at Ola's station walking through her labeled containers with practiced, unhurried hands. Dara's face in the pale security light, calm and careful. Her voice. The footage had sound from a second recording saying the salt. Take it out. Put in the baking soda. Mix with soap powder. Mix it well so it looks the same. She will not notice until it is too late. Her dark laugh. The hall went completely silent. Alma watched the screen. She was not surprised. She had known since 7:15 that morning. But watching it the way everyone else was watching it, as a clear and undeniable thing, she felt the full weight of it land differently. Not in her stomach, in her chest. The place where 15 years of friendship lived. She looked at Dara. Dara was already looking at her, and the look on her face had crumbled the way a performance crumbles when there is nothing left to perform for. What was left underneath was smaller and more human, something that might in another life have been called regret. Dara's voice broke across the hall. She crossed the floor. Cameras followed her. I am sorry. Her voice was not the bright, confident voice from that morning. It was something wet and shaky. I was scared. I was so scared that you were going to win, and you are better than me. You have always been better than me, and I did not want to accept it. I panicked. I am sorry. I am so sorry. She was crying now. Really, it seemed the kind of crying that comes when the thing you have been holding finally falls. One of the head judges, a tall woman named Dr. Ifeinwa Adisa, who had been in the food industry for 20 years and had the kind of presence that made a room sort itself out, spoke clearly into the silence. She looked straight at Ola. What would you like us to do? The cameras were on. Every eye in that room was on a woman in a blue apron with a faded yellow edge who was deciding something in public that most people only have to decide in private. Ola looked at Dara for one long moment. Then she looked at Dr. Adisa.
Test the dishes, she said.
Just test the dishes. They tested the dishes. The judges moved through the tasting slowly, writing, talking in low voices. Dr. Adisa tasted the agusi twice. She tasted the jollof. She went back to the jollof. Dara was disqualified. The rules of the contest, which she had signed, were clear about cheating. Ola won. Not because her competitor was removed, but because when they ate her food, it was the best food in the room. One of the judges said on camera, "This woman cooked like she had something to prove to someone she will never see again." He did not know how right he was. The hall was still rearranging itself, cameras shifting, judges talking, other cooks standing in the stunned, shaky moments after. When Ola walked over to where Dara was standing, a helper had brought her a paper cup of water. Her mascara had run down her face. Her hands were wrapped around the cup, the way people hold things when they have run out of other things to hold. Ola stood in front of her. Ola, Dara said, let me speak. Her voice was quiet, steady. The way a woman's voice is steady when she has already made peace with what she has to say. I have known you since we were 14 years old. I stood beside you through more things than I can count. When your father was sick, when you lost the job in Acacia, when Tunde broke your heart in our final year and you cried until your eyes swelled shut, and I stayed up with you all night. She paused. When my mother died, you sent me a thumbs up emoji.
Dara.
You came back 2 weeks later with Chin Chin and a speech about being sorry, and I let you back in because I was grieving and you are familiar, and I confused familiar with safe. You are not safe. You have never been safe. I just loved you too much to see it. The room was quiet around them. You replaced my salt with soap powder. You put kerosene in my oil. And you hugged me this morning and smiled. You looked me in the eye and said, "Let the best chef win." She shook her head slowly. I will forgive you.
I want you to know that.
Not for you, for myself. Because my mother taught me that bitterness is a meal you cook for someone else and then eat alone. When I am ready, and I am not ready today, I will let this go. She picked up her bag. But our friendship, Dara, that road is closed. I have been burned once at the burial, and I told myself it was grief, that you are complicated, that long friendship deserved long patience. Now you have burned me twice on purpose, in the place I built my whole dream on. She said it without poison. That was the most crushing part. She said it the way you state a thing that is simply, finally true. I wish you well. I really do. But I cannot carry you anymore, and I am done trying.
She turned.
She walked toward the judging table where Dr. Adisa was waiting. She did not look back. The footage, it turned out, had come from Mama Kechi. The old woman had found the security room unlocked that morning while the guard was on his rounds, had picked out the right recording, and had quietly made sure it would play at exactly the right moment. When Ola found her afterwards in the hallway, standing with her mop bucket, looking not at all surprised by how things turned out, Ola stood in front of her for a moment without speaking. Then she said, "Ma, how do I thank you?" Mama Kechi looked at her the way older women sometimes look at younger ones when they see something of themselves in them. "You already thanked me," the old woman said when this morning you asked how my legs were. Nobody has asked me that in a long time. Edinburgh in January is cold in a way that no Lagos upbringing prepares you for. Ola had been warned. She had bought the coats. She had been warned about the coats, too, that no matter how many you buy, the wind still finds you. And she had laughed at the warning and found out on her third day that the warning was true. But the kitchen of the culinary residency, was the kind of room that changes the shape of your dreams. 10 stations, professional-grade equipment, shelves of ingredients she had to read labels to identify. A head mentor named Chef Isabella Ferrer from Portugal, who tasted with her eyes closed and said almost nothing until she said something that mattered. Chef Isabella watched Ola cook on the second day. When Ola's dish was done, she tasted it, set down the spoon, and said, "Who taught you to cook like you are having a conversation?" "My mother," Ola said. She was a good teacher. It was in that kitchen that Ola met Iwa. Iwa Dolo, 27, Senegalese, raised in Dakar, trained briefly in Paris, placed in Edinburgh through a side residency program. She wore her hair in long twists and talked about food the way poets talk about language, like it was the most exact form of truth a human being could use. She sat beside Ola on the third day during a lecture on European flavor profiles and passed her a folded note. Ola opened it. It read, "I have been trying to make proper jollof for 6 months. I think you might be the only person in this building who can save me." Ola looked at her. Iwa looked back with a completely serious face of someone making a real plea. Ola laughed. The first full laugh since she had left Lagos. "Come to my station after this," she said. They spent that evening cooking Iwa's jollof, which she had indeed been getting really wrong. Too much water, not enough patience, basically missing the point of the party version, which made Iwa close her eyes in silence for a long moment when she tasted it. "You," Iwa said, "are going to be a very important person in this industry. Let's start with making your jollof eatable first." Ola said. They became the kind of friends who build each other up without tearing each other down, who share contacts and celebrate wins without keeping score, who tell each other the truth with enough kindness that the truth can actually land and be used. The kind of friendship that does not shrink one person so the other can feel bigger. There is a kind of plenty, the elders say, that only grows when it is shared. When you find the people who understand that your success is not a threat to theirs, you have found something rarer than talent and longer lasting than luck. Ola had spent 15 years giving that kind of friendship to someone who could not receive it without also trying to break it apart. Now she had found someone who gave it back. That is not a small thing. That is, in fact, everything. She called her brother Chitty from her Edinburgh apartment on a Sunday evening. The city outside the window was doing what the locals called a soft rain, what Lagos would simply call drizzle. Her brother listened while Ola spoke at length about her new life. Then he said, "Mama would have been telling everybody at the market." Ola smiled. "I know. I can hear exactly how she would have said it." They stayed on the phone for a while, without talking much. The comfortable quiet that only stays alive in places where real love lives. When she hung up, she sat by the window and watched the soft rain move across the glass. She thought about the lessons that had followed her across 2 countries and into the most important rooms of her life. She went to bed. She woke up the next morning before her alarm. She made tea. She put on her mother's blue apron, the one with the faded yellow edge, over her sweatshirt, because a kitchen is a kitchen even in Edinburgh in January. And she began cooking. Before we go, 3 questions, because this community does not watch and disappear. We sit with stories. We think, we talk in the comments. 1. When Ola forgave Dara and let her back into her life after the burial, was that grace? Or was that a mistake she had already been warned not to make? Would you have forgiven the first time? 2. The moment Ola chose not to take revenge even when Mama Kechi offered her help, was that strength? Or was it the kind of grace only a person who has lost the most important thing can offer?
And 3.
And this is the one I want you to sit with the longest. Have you ever had someone in your life who told you exactly who they were from inside a joke, and you laughed instead of listening? Drop your answers below. We do not judge here. We discuss, we grow, we learn from women who moved quietly and changed everything. This is where every story is a mirror and every ending is a beginning. If this story found you today, it was meant to. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And right now on your screen, there is another story waiting. One I think you will not be able to stop watching once you start. Go ahead. It is already there. And I will see you there.